Okay, what I'm going to do now is I have a sheet of paper that's 12 by 14, and I'm going to play around with transparency. I'm going to make an abstract design. I can do different shapes. Maybe I'll stick with squares for this. You can do circles and squares and whatever, squiggly lines, whatever you want to do. But the first shapes that you lay down should be not transparent layers. They should be full layers of gouache, okay? So make sure that they are definitely not streaky. So I'm going to start by making kind of a yellowy, warmer brown. I put down tape so I can make the tape is going to be important, you guys, for this. So please have nice clean edges for your shapes. And if you're doing circles, I would trace something that is a circle, the bottom of a container. When I'm doing my first shapes that are opaque, meaning not transparent, not see-through, I do want to make sure that they're consistent. So I made enough, or hopefully enough, of this brown to go all the way to the top. While this dries, I can work on the rest of the composition. Try to figure out what I want to do next. Since this brown is very vibrant and saturated, I might make a more muted color, a few other muted colors back here, but I'll make them full and not transparent. I'm thinking of that right now. Because what creates the depth of space, besides transparency, is saturation levels. What you can probably use instead of white to mute some of your colors, if you want, is the rose beige here. The white is going to be a commodity for later, so hold on to that white. Don't use it too much, okay? And I bet that rose pink can do a lot of other mutations, muting other colors. So what I'm going to do is kind of try it out. Instead of using my white, let's see what happens when I want to mute some stuff. You can also mute a color, of course, you know this by now. If it's blue, you can mix orange into it and it's going to start muting the color. So complementary colors will mute each other. Adding chromatic dark will do the same thing, or a little bit of black. But if you wanted to go on the lighter, like if you want to mute it but in the lighter direction, then you would use white. But let's see what peach, this little light peach, does to some things here. Some darker values. Let's see what it does to blue. So don't use your white, okay? Don't use it at all. Don't use your white at all. Try to use this rose beige, the 374, that you have a lot of, because you're going to need the white for later. You should wait till everything dries to take the tape off. I'm going to speed up the process here. You can use a hair dryer. I want to leave some white space so that when I put some transparent layers down, I'll be able to see what the transparent color would look like just on white paper. So I'm going to figure out where I want my white space to be. I can draw with a pencil, but if you're going to draw with a pencil, do it very lightly. I do want to make a nice clean line right here, and I started painting and I regret it because I do want to make it nice and neat. I kind of free form did the little triangles down there. Again, the first layers of shapes, the color needs to be consistent and you shouldn't see any streakiness. Because this is not your, these are not your transparent layers. These are your opaque layers. So I'm continuing to kind of experiment with the fact that I have this very, very light peach and mixing it in with certain colors to see what kind of colors I create, to see if I mute them in the direction I want. Because this has, there's a red that's in this. If I add it to green, will it change more brown? Maybe, probably. So what I just did was I mixed the yellow 617, the yellowish green, which is probably this one that's all dried. And then I added in the 374, and it did create a new tint of green that I enjoy. I like that. And I'm going to try to mix it into this green, which is 602, to see what it does to that one. I didn't think about the possibilities of this color. I didn't know if we were going to use it, but now we can use it instead of white for certain things. Yeah, perfect. It's muting that green quite nicely without altering it too much. The slight red that's in the peach color is not really affecting the green and canceling it out, because red and green are complements. If I paint away from the tape like this, like I'm not painting towards the tape, that will help to make sure that that edge is really crisp and the paint doesn't get underneath the tape. I don't want to see my paint strokes, so as soon as I lay down the color, I'm going to kind of fix certain parts by going a different direction with my paintbrush and make it look consistent. For composition's sake, it's good to repeat some of the color in certain places. So I'm going to repeat this green that I've made, the muted green, maybe up here. Or maybe I'll have it, what I'll do is I'll make a square that looks like it's going behind this shape. Because again, overlapping creates depth of space as well, besides transparency. So what I'm going to do is make it seem as if there's a square that's behind this square. That is this color. So I'm going to tape that off. So make sure you do that too. Have some of your shapes overlap in that way. I could also make it a circle that's behind there. This tape is a little difficult to rip, so I'm just using some scissors to do the trick. I can cut it to a shape of a corner to mask. That's why it's called masking tape. Well, this is really, really low tack masking tape. So this lighter value of green will look like it's going the distance as and it will look like it's in back of this darker value brown. What I'm going to do next is make a muted green square maybe over here. Kind of fill up this space and then fill this space up and this space up so the borders, most of the borders are a color. But again, these are opaque colors, not translucent, transparent colors. I'm actually going to put this muted green on square on top of the corner of this brown square so I create an illusion of depth with overlapping and also kind of play around with lighter value being on top of a darker value, because right now this darker value is on top of the light value, but I'm going to do the reverse right here with this muted green. So I made this green by adding a lot of the peach in with this green that I had. Because since it's so opaque right now and doesn't have a ton of water in it, it should cover up that brown as long as I don't rub too much of the brown into the green. So some of this arrangement you can plan out like I did here, and some of it you can just do it on the fly and it should work for you. I just wanted to overlap this shape. So I might start here where it's behind this shape. So I made this kind of improvisational shape here. As long as I don't rub too hard on the spot where the brown is, I'm not going to start mixing the brown into the green. And I want to make sure I don't see through to the brown, so I'm just kind of putting on the gouache kind of thick right here. And I'll let it dry a little bit as I'm doing the rest of it. And if I see that I can, as it dries, I can start seeing through to the brown, then I'll just add a little bit more on top. I think I'm going to put a large transparent shape here, and then I might do smaller transparent shapes on top over here. I think that's my plan so far. So I'm trying to figure out what color transparency I want to use. I think I might try blue for over here and see what it does. And I want to test it out on scrap paper. I think I might go for more of a bluish green. I don't know. I'm gonna add in green to the blue. So once I get the color that I want, I can move it over to a new spot, add some water. Yeah, I like that blue a little bit better than the first blue. It's more of a greenish blue. I'm gonna water it down enough so that it becomes transparent. I want it to overlap as much as I can to see how it changes with all of these colors. But I don't really want to make it a square. So I think I'll just sort of improvise the shape right now. This is the challenging part. Making it opaque and consistent is a lot easier than making it transparent and consistent. So once you put a little bit down, spread it out till it looks like it's relatively even. And remember that when you're going over a dried paint color, you got to make sure that you're not going over it too much, because then you're going to start reactivating that color. This is going to get tricky. Just try your best. If you do have a bigger brush than what I have right here, it's going to be a little easier for you. This blue transparent layer isn't going to change much in the darker colors. It's going to do something to the yellow though. It'll make it kind of look green. Just going to go over it maybe one more time and see if that will make it less grainy. I don't know. I think I'm going to choose red. Maybe I'll choose red, like a watery pink for the next one. So I've got rose. I'm going to make smaller areas of transparency. That last one was a bigger area. But I'll overlap two different colors so that you can see the difference between those when I do that. And then I want to connect over this white space so you can get that bright pink color. I'm going to dry my brush, wash and dry my brush, pick up some more, go to a new spot. If I go over it enough, I should be able to make it seem consistent. And I just leave it alone as soon as I get to that point. I think I'm going to try bright yellow next, because these aren't yellow. These are yellow-green mixed in with peach. So they're kind of like a... Oh no! Oops. I didn't really tape up that one really well, so some paint got right there. That's okay. I might be able to just take a wet cloth, a wet paper towel right now and take that off. I'll take a little piece of paper towel. Yeah, there we go. All better. I think I might just go over this transparent layer just for fun. It seems like it's dry. And create several shapes at one time. I created this little triangle down here, this shape, that sort of square. I'm going to make an orange with that yellow that I just finished using. I just put the tape down so that these would be 3 lines that kind of shifted going that way. I might just make this orange like a creamier orange. Like a muted orange, so I'll put some of this peach in there. It was a little too vibrant. It was a little too saturated for me. Saturated orange. Now it's getting a little more muted, which I like better. It's hard to see the colors in the video. I'll post it for a picture as well. Like this orange in my screen, my webcam is showing this as kind of a brown, but this is an orange, more orange, more orange. So there's some stuff I like and there's some stuff I'm not really into, and that's perfectly fine. That's how you're gonna feel when you're working on something, and you're probably gonna have to change it up. So, and that just means you're working through it, okay? Transparency so far has created different levels for me. First, I had shapes that overlapped each other here that were opaque. So this darker brown started to recede back, but because I put a lighter square behind it, a lighter value color, it kind of plays around with like it's competing. And then this lighter value on top is popping out because it's on top of the back. The background of it is the darker brown. So I think I want to create some depth right in here. I kind of want this space to go in more. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to put a darker color back here, a darker value color. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Whether I want to do a dark brown in this behind this space so that this yellow kind of pops out more. Something darker than this, because if it was the same value as that, it would just be flat and it wouldn't go back into space. So I think I'm going to do something a little darker, and I'm going to go behind these shapes. Now I'm going to make a transparent dark brown. Alright, so what this does in here now is it's a nice dark area where my eye goes. It gets pulled into that space, but then pushed out by these yellow. This yellow, which is lighter in value than this yellow green. So it's nice that this is a subtle change right here. And then this triangle is on top of the dark right there, and it's also see-through here. So that's like a little bit of translucency and then no translucency. Getting there. I did a transparent dark brown, watery dark brown over here. I'm going to try to figure out what I want to do next. I do want the white space most of the white space to go away. So now that I have this dark area right here that's drawing me in, it's the only dark area, so I might make an even darker area right here. Maybe this will be black. I don't know. I feel like I should either repeat this dark brown somewhere else or make it even darker somewhere. I don't know. So I've decided I want to stick with a green kind of theme in this corner. So I'm gonna make this strip right here a very, very bright green, so that since it's saturated, a very pure green color against a dull, almost chromatic gray green and some muted greens here, it'll pop out. So I want this, so I'm going to use the saturation level of the greens to make this pop out at me. So I've got that bright green that comes out of the tube. It's 602. And I'm going to make it opaque. Ooh, hey, that was a dirty brush. That's not pure if it's a dirty brush. I forgot to wash my brush. I know I have to make this happen somewhere else because I don't want this to be the only spot with that dark brown. So I might put a spot over here. I might put an interior square. I might even do like a grayish blue because this is a grayish red. I might do a grayish blue. So what I'm going to do is I'll take Prussian blue, and then since I'm trying to save my white, I'm going to go back to get the flesh tone color here. Again, you guys can make dark chromatic darks, right? Remember that? Achromatic dark is with blue and brown together, and it's an almost black, but it's not as harsh as a black. It's like a navy blue now. Let's see what it looks like with a little more white in it. It's peach color. Yeah, that's something more that I like. It's a little more gray, less deep navy blue. It's more of a blue, gray blue. So that's gonna go in here somewhere. Alright, this is what it looks like now. I did some touch-ups in here with a smaller brush to make that blue go into the places I wanted it to go. I think what's really working is right here because there's so many different layers that's going on, and there's some depth because of the dark values in the back, and there's some nice subtle changes right here that you guys can't tell on the screen. And then there's a lot of push and pull in this spot. I feel like that's finished. There's some other stuff I want to do over here, which I probably will. I think this corner is probably done. I don't want it to be super active everywhere. You want to give the viewer a little bit of a break somewhere in the piece. So I think that's what this is. I think I might work on this part a little bit more, or I might just leave that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this part. I think I might leave it as it is, but I have some splotches that I kind of want to fix up. I might do a transparent layer right here of maybe a green, or I'm not sure quite yet. Do something there, and then I want to repeat these little strips that happen maybe up here. I have little strips that go over this layer right here. I might have it happen from here to here. I might try to put some green, pull some green up here. There's a lot of green down here, but there's nothing up here. So I might make that a translucent green, transparent green. And I have a lot of dried greens right here, which is helpful because I can just hydrate them real quick and then they become transparent. I think my green was just a little too watery when I laid it down. So what's happening is it was so watery, now it's just reactivating the space. Which I don't think I really wanted that, but I can't really do anything about it right now. I did make this space, now that's green. Push some of the brown traveled from down here up. I'll just go with it, I don't know. I want to fill this space up now because I made a little mark and I feel as if I should do that. I think I'm going to try a different red. not the rose. I'll do scarlet. And maybe I'll blend it in here with the rose, and that's where tonal progression comes in. Now I can kind of blend it back to the rose color, so it's not completely a red splotch right there. I think I'm going to add a little peach in there, or a little orange or something. Again, why not?